About 2,500 years ago, approximately in this place where we are sitting, according to official version there, where that tree is, but during 2,500 years ago many things could be moved here in different directions. Buddha Shakyamuni, after 7 years of asceticism, decided to challenge himself, his inner storages, and said, "I will overcome these limits or will not." Therefore, he sat under a tree, big tree, which is called Ficus religiosный in encyclopedias. Local people call it Bodhi tree. He decided to sit under that tree and not to stand up till the answering all the questions he had conguessed. Probably it were questions like, who am I, why do I live, what is the purpose of that life, etc. Accordingly, he managed to answer the main questions during 7 days. Before he answered the questions, Mara had came to him and tried to stop him on self-perfection way. Mara is a divinity who is responsible for passions which humans go through. When a human experiences some extraordinary emotions and sensual pleasures, or something which sweeps off in his perception of the world, most likely it is external sources which motivates a human to empty his energy. In scriptures it is said that there is a divinity responsible for passions gratification. At first, as it said, Mara sent 6 daughters to him, 6 different, not only sensual, but also emotional, 6 habits which rule people. But they were not able to provoke him for energy waste, for energy losing. Buddha kept self-possessioning. Then Mara sent all armies, all forces which he had to scare Buddha. Result was the same. Buddha wasn't frightened. After that, Mara came to Buddha himself and said, I will rephrase it in modern interpretation, "You are crazy. What are you sitting under the tree? You poor monk, look at yourself, who you are now." By that time Buddha almost looked like a skeleton. 6 years of asceticism had affected him, and tomorrow morning we will go to Mahakala cave. You will see there Buddha statue, very unusual statue, seated skeleton covered with the skin. In that condition he was sitting under that tree. But Buddha answered, "You will not be able to tempt me or make me concerned, because this ground is my endorsement." Then Buddha touched the ground, let's say, his bearing during his movement on the way. Then Mara said, "You have reached the enlightenment. Why are you sitting at this planet then? Go at the higher worlds. Why are you wasting your time here?" But Buddha answered, "I came by purpose. I will fulfill my predestination and live after that." The case is that when we will be in Kapilavastu, next to the eastern gates, when Buddha was leaving his palace, Mara met him there too and told him, "What's wrong, dear? Where are you going? Everything is so good in your life, and this is marvelously, and that. I have been satisfying all your passions you have had. Where are you going? Let me give you more passions. Just stay and fulfill your kin duty." Usually Mara knows which words to use to make a person come back to his stall and continue to do things which he was learned to do. But Buddha didn't agree with that. There too. Therefore Mara had a certain fiasco. He couldn't stop him on the self-perfection way. In the place where we were yesterday in Sarnath, remember, next to the stupa, it is concluded that Buddha came to Mara twice. Mara came to Buddha twice there. What was the matter of their conversation is not known for certain. It is considered that in this place the energy of firmness is kept, energy which helps a person to overcome inner limits, limits of ignorance, limits, something which doesn't allow to a person to move there where his soul, Jivatma, wants to go, but not his mind. It is two different things, please pay attention for that. A person who lives with his mind only, to my regret, more often educated person, very smart, but unfortunately he is like a squirrel in a wheel, and his mind lets him an opportunity only in a certain frames. It is very difficult for a person to get over these frames of certain conditionality. Do you understand what I am talking about? If a person is grown up this way, when good for him is this, evil is that, if he wants to be a good person, you should move this way. Step left or step right, you will get inner problems. It is something that was formed not only in this life, but was formed during many previous lives in a human body. Accordingly, way of self-perfection allows to get over these frames of limits which were formed. Do you understand? To a certain extension it is important, because if you are a developed, intellectual person, magnificent philosopher, but unfortunately philosophers do not succeed a lot in yoga. If you have huge knowledge about the world, it doesn't mean that you will be able to fulfill anything in that your life. It is very important to be at a golden middle. From one hand, knowledge is very important. From the other hand, the knowledge should be supported by practice. If you rely only on knowledge without practice, you will bog down in philosophic reasoning, in philosophic disputes. That is why important to try realize and practice any knowledge you have received. I mean, to verify its own practice, whether it's true or not, is it illusion or not, try to find your own way. Thus, accordingly, these three Bodhi helped Buddha to strengthen himself on his self-perfection way, and to achieve the level which Buddha had before his birth. Do you understand what I am talking about? When Buddha was born in this world, through getting the material form, he had to lose almost all knowledges he had. Yes, certain important things left deep inside him, but those things which were accumulated over that during his life in this world, they moved him away from his own essence. That is a problem of human life, huge problem. And divinity which reincarnate at this planet unfortunately forgets its predestination as well. If you read Ramayana, even divinity Vishnu had to forget who is he in fact when he was born here. It took many years to realize his way. He realized that through the huge quantity of deprivations. If you was born in a Christian country, you certainly have heard Jesus Christ's way story. There is such a saint in Christianity. I believe all of you have heard about him. But if you try to look into the question of his life path, you will find out the same. He was living some period of time in society. After that, 13 years of his life is not described in the Bible, which he spent somewhere. There is no accent on that. He could be everywhere, educated somewhere. After that, it is said that before he reached his final aim, he had to go to the desert for 40 days. If you have never been to desert and do not imagine it to yourself, it is very, very tough. Thus he left in a difficult conditions by purpose to look into the accumulations he had gained in that life. What is more, if you read biography, as they are called saint people who were able to do something for that world, learn please in Christian conception biography of Seraphim of Sarov or Sergei of Radonezh, they had ascesis all the time, as well during their ways. They didn't indulge pleasures. They try to live economy. Pay your attention. In a certain extension it is important, because those people who are trying to live, as it said, on a large scale, taking everything from the life, getting pleasures, in that perspective there is an interesting film where dark glasses help to see ad banners. Who remember the title of that movie? They Live. Yes, interesting movie. It was filmed in 1989, year probably very old, but the plot of the movie is quite the same. The planet was occupied by some creatures, and the creatures made an illusion for people. That a person look at magazine advertisement, for example, it is very colorful, but through certain glasses he can see primitive slogans: enjoy, reproduce, in general, do something to waste your life energy. Do you understand? This is Mara way. When Mara offers to a person temptations which will deprive him his energy, let me show you more primitive examples. Let us suppose there is a wedding or some feast, which it will be very interesting and funny now. You attend this event, but have you mentioned what happens after such events to a person? Some kind of exhaustion. Have you mentioned? Does everyone understand what I am talking about? Only in case you have an inclination to... It is a difficult topic. I don't want to touch it, otherwise we will have to spend a lot of time on it. That person who organized the feast, he collects living energy of those who visit this feast. Do you understand? Wedding organizer gets the living energy of those who came on this wedding feast. Organizer of such event gets living energy, but those who came and were satisfied during this event, they gave their living energy. Is it clear? That is why saint people choose ascetic way, which helps to save energy of foolish and transform it in a wisdom for all living creatures good. Do you understand? Here, under that tree, it is considered special energy. It is not accidentally that Buddha came here. Accordingly to some scriptures, all previous Tathagats reached enlightenment at this place as well. It is considered that coming Buddha Maitreya will have to get enlightenment exactly in that place. For that part of our conversation, which were a little bit emotional, maybe you have some questions, additions, comments? Why it is considered that a person who organizes a feast gets all energy? Where this statement is coming from? Is it positive energy? Why did you decide that it is positive energy? It is positive only in the case if person can, through yoga practice, low-level energy convert to higher vibrations. He collected the energy, but what kind of energy did he collect? If it is feast, it means eating, enjoyment of flavor, and in the future it will lead to unpleasant things. If he keep this energy on a certain level, when he will start self-perfection way, he won't be able to control himself in nutrition. He will want eat so strong and so many that he will not be able to control himself. To collect energy is not a problem. Only in case if you will force yourself to practice, you will need to force yourself, as no one going to practice by their own will. Have you seen these unhappy monks who are sitting under the horns and experience decibels of that sound? Starting what time do you think do they do this? From 6 a.m. they are sitting there, if I am not wrong, correct? Do you think it is cool? Are they enjoying? Then why they are so obstinate, strange, why they are sitting there? Get accustomed by the end of the day. What is the sense of it, do you think? Yes, it is ascesis, and very cruel ascesis. Probably it is a cloister took out its monks and drilled them here to get all rubbish out of them this way. In fact, you can go and sit. You can do this tomorrow. No, not tomorrow, in Wednesday. You will have all day, not on Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, yes, fortunately. The day after tomorrow, when you will have the whole day, try to do the following thing, to sit next to them and try to sit there as long as they do. Do nothing, just sit there. What's the complexity? Just try. Their transforming energy they have this way, it is very strong ascesis. Sometime we came here on Madlan, which once a year huge events are organized by Karnapa. Sometimes they do it together with Dalai Lama. I believe 1,000 monks are gathering here from different countries, because this place is absolutely crowded with monks here. There is no place for a leaf to fall here. So many monks, huge amount, and they practice here from morning till the evening. They start at 5 and finish at 5. They have 1 hour lunch break or 1.5 hours, and in that day they are sitting, overcoming all difficulties which appears. In fact, it is very serious ascesis, which will force the energies which circle around you to leave you at yourself. Do you understand? These asceses, they are necessary for a person who is following self-perfection. Let's return to a question why a person who fulfills passions capture energy. It is truly how it happens. Not only feast, any passion you satisfy captures life energy. I will illustrate it for you. To my mind, in Aishali, there was a woman, as it's called, not Apsara. What name of this woman? Woman who courtesan, yes. Woman who entertained the society. She does everything what guests who came to her like. She can play on some musician instrument, sing songs, tell beautiful stories about everything she knows, satisfy other guest passions. But she is satisfying passions. Does everyone understand it? But to my regret, by the senility, such person collects large quantity of passion energies. He gets a serious problem in his life, very serious, because energy which has been collected will tear that person apart. There is one metaphor about one courtesan. When Buddha was going from one city to another, he met such courtesan on his way. She was stupefied because of his body. It was beautiful man in his heyday, as it's called. She ran to him and told, "Oh, my beloved." She saw him the first time in her life. "Oh, my beloved man, how long have I been looking for you? Let me hug you." Buddha calmly looked at her and said, "My beloved, why should we make haste? Let's check our feelings first. Wait some time. We'll see what will happen. Yeah, later we will talk about it with you." She understood and calmed down. Many years passed after that meeting. Buddha was sitting in some ashram and narrating a lecture, and suddenly he stopped and said, "Oi." To put it more precisely, he didn't say "Oi" because Buddha was incredibly rational in his words. So he told, "My disciples, wait for me for a minute. My beloved is calling me intensively. I have to go to her." Everyone was stunned. Which beloved? Beloved by Buddha. It was incredible. They were in a shock, but still they followed him. Buddha came to the outskirts of some city and found that woman who was trying to hug him. She looked terrible. She had sinister diseases, her body was decomposing. He came to her and told, "Thus, my darling, you've seen the opposite side of the life. You are able for development now." He called best doctors which he had among the monks and said, "Can you cure her?" They observed her and replied, "If we will have such time and such ingredients, we will cure her completely." He asked them to do that. They cured her completely, and in some time that woman, practicing a lot, became on a level on sane person. She was able to transform her energy due to strong ascesis and to get to the high level of enlightenment. This life says that people which fulfill their pleasures in youth, they don't reach anything in their lives. If you meet drugs and alcohol in youth, you know how their lives develop. I'm sure you are in the know. All passions which are around a person, as soon as person devotes himself to these passions, he gets nothing good at the end. Only in case if a person is vampire, bad word. Usually you think that vampire are those who drink blood. Mass media connected vampires with drinking blood. From time to time I see which movies are advertised here and in Moscow. Soon new movie will start which is called Vampire Academy. Am I right? Yes, I see banners in the city. Which connections to our reality you think it has? In principle, some vampires, why it is shown to people, something was just an illusion for the majority. Probably there is a sense in it. I will not go into details what is the reason to show that to people, but to my big regret, if some illusions are shown to people, it means that these illusions have part of the truth. There are people whose nutrition is other people energy. It is a difficult topic, I don't want to develop it because we came on a beautiful place where Buddha is sitting enlightened. Thus we will talk about things which enlighten but not frighten. But I only want to mention to you that there are people who feed by energy of other life creations. It is not so important which type of energy is that. It could be energy of pleasure or energy of suffering. It exists. Making someone suffer, vampire gets life energy. Is it clear? But it is negative, as it said, negative way. And those people are very unhappy, because taking energy from someone, they do that for two reasons. They were victims and someone took that energy from them, or second option is that they will be victims. They will be treated as they treat themselves to the others. For that difficult, disputable and contradictory part of our conversation, do you have any questions? Did I understand correct? When person fulfills his passions, he spends his energy. He loses it. Absolutely correct. A human is only energy substance which could from one hand collect energy and from other hand spend it. Let's return to the point from which I started all these talks about collecting spending energy. If Buddha would have fallen into temptation, he would never become Buddha. Do you understand it? As soon as he would have fulfilled his passions, he would lost all potential tapas which he had gained during long 7 years of that life to realize. If you are a philosopher, my words will remain for you only philosophic aspect, but in case if you check it with your personal practice, how energy moves in your body, how you can collect energy in chakras and sublimate it, then you will clearly understand that it is absolutely realistic teaching, and yoga lets you overcome some darkness. Any passion which will come to visit you is darkness, and that darkness is interested in you being in ignorance, being foolish person. Does everyone understand it? Another question, Andrei. Why after incarnation the access to the experience of previous lives is closed? Not for everyone and not always it is closed. Official version is the following. The pain which soul feels during entering in material cover is so strong that all memory is destroyed during that process. It is a very painful process, a creation of matter. It is official version. There is unofficial, esoteric version. As we reincarnate in people world, we reincarnate to get some lessons, sometimes very painful lessons. If person would know which lessons he has to pass, he would choose sinuous way. Look, there is a height there. Here we are in a lowland, and height is there. 200 years ago there was a thick layer of ground where we are sitting right now, on a depth 5-7 meters. Everything was filled up here. Only top of that construction was sticking out of the ground. By that time Buddhism had left these places. I mean Buddhism as religion. Astrology school still was here. But one English explorer, I don't remember his name, started to perform excavation. During long time they were digging here and returned everything, as you can see it right now. The tree itself, which you can see next to those monks who is singing song, go to that tree, if it's possible. Try to sit under it to feel energy. It is considered that this tree is direct relative exactly from the tree under which Shakyamuni grew and got enlightenment. The tree under which Buddha got enlightenment, that tree was destroyed 5 or 7 times. In some cases it was natural causes, strong wind, for example, broke it down completely and it dried. But in my opinion, in 4 or 5 cases it was destroyed malicious. There is a definition, religious hatred. Do you know it? When representatives of one religion strongly hate different religion and they're ready to destroy everything which serve as attribute for other people. Accordingly, such kind of people came here several times and destroyed that tree to my big regret, by thanks to Sri Lanka princess who came here after Buddha had reached enlightenment. And she asked local monks who defended this place. Precisely, they were not defending it, but was looking after this place. She asked for a spout of that tree and brought it to Sri Lanka. She planted it, and it is considered that more than 2,500 years this tree is growing there, brother you could say, or son, in general, close relative in tree hierarchy. Accordingly, each time when that tree was destroyed from the tree in Sri Lanka, a spout was brought back and such branchy tree was grown from it. First attempt to destroy this tree was 200 years later. There was a kind named Ashoka. It is considered that he was very bloody. Few thousand people were killed in his bloody battles. If you look at the current rulers in different countries, they destroy millions of people, but not directly through hot wars, but through drugs, through alcohol, cigarettes. Huge amount of people are being killed. Does everyone understand it? That is why on their background Ashoka is the holy lamb, but some historians consider him as a blooded tyrant. I am not agree. In his battles, which he initiated, only several thousand people died, but after that he saw that so many people were dead. He thought, how is that? It is not right that I am reaching my targets at the expenses death of other people. He started to think on that topic, and at the end of the day he met Buddha teaching. One of the concepts says that in Ashoka time there were monks who personally had seen Buddha, who had heard Buddha's teaching. To some extension it is important. Therefore he reached them, got inspired, realized his way he needed to move. In general, he started to learn that topic. When he came, I'm sorry, exactly in that place before he met the monks and before he got the enlightenment exactly on the base of attempt to destroy the tree first time. He came to the tree, ordered to the army to collect many dry firewood. This firewood was placed around the tree and made a huge bonfire and lit it. When the fire started to touch the trunk of the tree, everyone saw that the tree started to beam a very bright light which level covered the firelight. Then Ashoka realized that all these stories about Buddha is not a fiction, but something serious, and he decided to grasp in it. He ordered to demolish and to extinguish the fire. The tree was saved, and then he started to search for monks who had seen Buddha and, as it is called, to hear this teaching from the first hand. He got enlightenment to some extension and became a Buddhism defender. But Ashoka had a wife, real Kshatri, who couldn't accept the fact that her husband had gotten in some kind of cursed cult, became a Buddhist. How could it be? She collected all her army, came to this place and set to destroy the tree. Accordingly, Ashoka was in a different place. In general, they were trying to destroy it, but some defenders managed to defend the tree. Female energy didn't manage to destroy it, but she tried to do this several times. Then Ashoka ordered to build, if I am not wrong, 5 or 6 meters wall around the tree, and this wall was here indeed. You can see it. The gates were settled, which were closed. The guards was settled here as well, and to allow to come in only for adequate people, and most likely he didn't allow to let his wife in. Thanks to that, the tree was saved. For that part of the lecture, do you have any questions, additions or comments? Andrei, is it correct to say that this tree helped Buddha to got enlightenment? That is correct. Of course, this tree is absolutely special. What is more, accordingly to scriptures, it could sound fantastic, but in scriptures there are facts which say that this tree, or at least tree from this place, helped Buddha to reach such realization. The sense is in the following. It is considered that this tree is almost a live organism, and this tree is a ruler of other trees, roughly speaking. I am not sure whether it is ruler of trees only of this genus or all trees, but it is considered when this planet will come to the moment of physical destruction, this tree will not die. It will relocate to another galaxy on a different planet with a similar conditions, where it will continue to develop. Is it some kind of energetic substance? Yes, it is like a huge helper for any person who stands on a self-perfection way. Was you ever wondered when you were studying biology in school about the strange process? Roots in the ground. They are finding moisture on a depth. Not everyone knows that there are trees with lengths of their roots 2-3 times longer than their top. It means that it is main part of the tree is under the ground, but only small part of it is above the ground, as with icebergs. Very strange process. Gravity pulls everything down, but in trees life energy and juice is coming from root to the top. Do you understand? It means that energy movement is coming from roots to the top. That is why practitioners choose trees to make tree energy help to lift their own energy. If you are sitting with your back towards to a tree, tree energy coming up helps your energy to come up as well. Indeed, there is such definition. If you read scriptures, often in Buddhistic scriptures said the following: when a practitioner will take grass and sit under the tree of way, how to say, a person who faces such words first time, he doesn't understand what is the grass, why should he take it to sit under some tree of way, what is it about, yes, but the grass kusha or carex, it is considered one of Vishnu reincarnations, when he was cursed. One moon divinity cursed him, indeed. That is a fact, and some Vaishnavas should know that. Okay, never mind, we will not talk about disagreements. But once Vishnu helped Shiva to whip one demon. There is one place which is called Garuda Valley. For some reason, in tourist prospects, it is considered as an interesting place. But in fact, there is nothing interesting there at all. I don't understand those people who make these prospects. I have an assumption what kind of people they are, which specific interests. But there is nothing to do there for a normal person, because there are very strong shami smell. Shami, do you understand? There is smell sulfur, absolutely unhealthy atmosphere. River, many cult structures, many caves where strange bones and skulls are stored for some reason. Some exciting people who like to collect bones there. Okay, we will not talk about sad things. The sense is the following. Many thousand years ago on this planet there were one outstanding demon who practiced yoga and reached unbelievable powers. This demon had righteous wife who didn't commit any act which could spurt her honor, woman who had gained enormous quantity of woman energy. She was righteous. She was worshipping to some gods, despite the fact that her husband demon, who ruled with a sword and a fire, say the least, they ruled the world around. As this demon was practicing yoga on a very mature level, he managed to develop such characteristics which were out of limits of majority of the people. He could get any form he wanted. Once he heard that the most beautiful woman in the galaxy is Parvati, Shiva's wife. Then he decided to meet her closer, because he could everything, right? He took Shiva's look absolutely the same as Shiva was. He came to Shiva and Parvati house, and he came through the guard. You should understand that Shiva's guard is specific creatures which are standing for order there. It is not simple guard, not just defenders, it is super professional creatures which punish everyone according to his offenses. You can imagine whom am I talking about. I don't want to use word demons by purpose because it doesn't reflect the truth. There are helpmates who have very specific parameters. Do you understand? In general, if one of these helpmates will need to tear from some demon ahead, they will do it easily. Nevertheless, this demon, with Shiva outlook past them, they bowed to him and didn't even realize that it was substitution. He came to Parvati and knocked the door. Parvati came out and that Shiva conked out in front of her, as he didn't expect it that the beauty could be such intensive. When he saw that beauty, he just conked out. Parvati looked at him and realized that the case is very serious. As she realized that Shiva couldn't be conked out, it means that someone with Shiva outlook passed through all demons and lost his consciousness. She understood that it's very serious problems. She immediately called Vishnu and said, "Listen, Vishnu, I'm sorry for saying such contemporary to make it easier for you to understand." Of course, she referred to Vishnu using telepathy. "Vishnu, I have a problem. A demon came to me with Shiva's outlook and it looks like we will have serious problems." Shiva, at this moment, was in deep meditation and very far away. He couldn't be called out from there. When Shiva is in meditation, it requires enormous quantity of efforts to get him out. Vishnu materializes next to this demon, and Parvati says, "Demon, why have you came to me here?" Demon says, "Why? I want to hug this woman, I'm Shiva." They say, "No, you are not Shiva." "Who said to you that I'm not Shiva?" They had this conversation in general, one replica after another. That demon says to Vishnu, "Vishnu, get off. I came here to hug Parvati. You will not do nothing to me." Vishnu was astonished after such attitude. To understood, you should know Vedic culture. Vishnu is the most frightening divinity which could appear. It means there has the best of the best weapon, etc. Nevertheless, Vishnu, I think they started to fight, yes or no. I don't remember. To make a long story shorter, Vishnu understood that he wouldn't be able to put this demon at his place. He rapidly goes to Shiva, finds arguments to get him out from meditation, and says, "Shiva, listen, a demon came to Parvati, absolutely the same as you are. She will have problems, therefore you should go and defend her." Shiva appears there and started to fight with the demon. Many days and nights, months and years, this battle were lasting, but Shiva couldn't overcome this demon, even though he had a divinity origination. Vishnu understood that the problem was not in the demon, and they will not be able to overcome this demon, even though they have this divinity origination. The issue was in purity of that woman, who was his wife. Till the moment this woman had this tapas of purity, the demon couldn't be prevailed. Then Vishnu took outlook of the demon and did the same to his wife, what he tried to do with Parvati. He came to the wife with demon outlook and said, "Darling, we have a break for some time in the battle. I have to wash myself and feed me, please." He took a bath, shower, ate something, and after that he said, "Darling, I haven't seen you for a while. Lay next to me for some time." In general, at the moment they had sexual contact, she realized that it wasn't her husband, because during the man and woman union, thin energies of inner worlds flow together. Man gets into woman's sushumi. It is very thin structure which couldn't be confused. She pushed him off immediately and asked, "Who are you?" He answered, "I'm sorry, darling, I'm Vishnu. I had to enter in your body to tempt you, to kill your husband." She said, "You are miserable, Vishnu. I'm cursing you for that. You will have to be rebirthed as kusha grass, shell, and other two substance I don't remember exactly, for deceiving me that way." This woman had enough tapas to force Vishnu leave his position and to rebirth in his next lives as kusha grass. This grass is considered as Vishnu rebirth. When we will go to Nepal, here in India you will not see that, but in Nepal very often stones are sold which are crushed in two parts and a shell contained inside. Do you understand? Cobblestone crushed in halves and you can see shell inside. It is considered that it is Vishnu rebirth and stones are still kept. When I was in Himalayas first time many years ago, we were in a very cold place when it was very cold there. It was in Upper Mustang in Tibet, even further. We were standing on a cloister roof and saw as local people were standing in a cold river and were looking something there. The water was ice cold, but not just cold. They were looking something barefoot in that cold water. I asked a monk, "Listen, what do they do there? It is incredible, ice-cold mountain river, can you imagine? Once you step in this water, you can forget about your feet." But they were walking there. He said, "They are looking for shells, Vishnu imitation. They are looking in these mountain rivers." There is a place in Tibet, which we visit sometimes. It is called Garuda place. There are bones there. It is clearly seen there, mountain surface and some kind of calcareous parts are sticking out from it. It is considered that it is bones of that demon who was killed in a moment when Vishnu had sex with his wife. Why are you shaking your head? Don't you believe? You think knights who lived in Europe were absolutely dumbbas when they were leaving for a war and putting their women into iron, how do you call this iron thing? Chastity belt, in some kind of iron thing, only because they knew that wife energy influence on events which will happen with husband. Wife fidelity will directly define whether husband will come back from the war or will not. As soon as wife lets herself go, her husband will be gone. The woman curse happened despite the fact that Vishnu was such strong divinity? Yes, it is normal. She was a strong woman. I mean that being in woman form and serving to the demon, she was gathering huge amount of tapas energy. Divinities, they also have specific life form. If you read text called Rudra Samhita, quite rare text, also it is called Shiva Samhita, where you can find God-life prolongation point of view. During one Shiva's life, two Vishnus passes. During one Vishnu life, two Brahmans passes. If I am not wrong, during one Brahman's life, 7 or 12 Indras passes. There are divinities who live enormous quantity of kalps, very long time, I mean small kalps. Still, they live only one forming galaxy. Their fathers, these three divinities, Vishnu, Shiva and Brahma, they are creators of a certain galaxy. In a different galaxy, different Shiva, Vishnu and Brahman will be. Do you understand? If you read Buddhistic sutras, very often described which different Brahmas came to Buddha for consultation. Literally, they were interested. If I'm not wrong, in Vimalakirti Nirdesa Sutra is described situation that one Brahma, a galaxy creator, was very mistaken and Buddha managed to put his head on the place. He could explain him how to manage the galaxy, how to do it efficient. There is a description, I think it is in Yoga Vasishtha, when this galaxy was being created. Shiva, remembering consequences previous creations, Shiva still remembered that Vishnu and Brahma, they appeared again, they were renewed, but Shiva still remembered what would be the final of planets, where they were trying to implement beautiful life form and great planets, where everything's supposed to prosper and thrive. He remembered how was it ended last times. Then he told to Vishnu and Brahmans, wait for me here, I will get into meditation and will try to find a way how to minimize problems of living creatures, not only people but also divinities. Divinities also suffering a lot to my regret. He was in meditation for a very long time, contemporary saying, working out business plan. He was creating a model how to minimize consequences for life creatures or events creatures, as they called. But Vishnu with Brahma didn't wait till his return. When Shiva came out from meditation, he saw that Brahma had created life creatures and they started to eat each other because of their ambitions, selfishness, etc. According to one of the versions, Shiva told, let it be, then I will try to help them. These live creatures will not be my children, but they will be my nephews and nieces. That is why Shiva's yoga lets life creatures to find a way from ignorance. Shiva gave a methodology which helps to solve problems. Do you understand? Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva is triple appearance of one energy, which starts galaxy development, makes creatures, souls, collects experience. Read Yoga Vasishtha. There is interesting place there. It is that in this life, for example, Brahma, in this galaxy where we materially exist, Brahma became a creator, father, but in different their incarnations, they could change their roles. Sometimes Vishnu created a galaxy, was the father, sometimes Shiva, different cases. That is not dogma that Brahma creates a galaxies. Why I'm focusing your attention on that? There are various books which have some dogmatism. It is said that Brahma is a creator without options, but it is not considered there that it could be many galaxies and many Brahmas. Do you understand? Answering your question, Buddha Shakyamuni is not an absolutely correct title. His post rank is Tathagata. Tathagata is his title. Buddha is simplified, awaken. Someone who awake from wraith, ignorance, and there are many such people. I should say about that, any saint person is Buddha, is awakened. He lives not for his own selfishness, not for passion satisfaction. Any awakened, what does he start to do? Problems of other people. Have you ever mentioned it? Any sane person is helping others to overcome their limits. Does everyone understand it? Person who is materialist, who is bonded with passions, he lives only for himself. Therefore, Buddha is existing out of this paradigm, out of any space and time. He has relates to the reality only in case if some his disciples from the previous lives gathering together and need for his teaching, he incarnates there and give them this teaching. That is not his target. He has no interest in that. That is why he is called Tathagata. In translation, someone who came without a reason, or someone who goes without a reason. He goes out of time and any space out of willing to be. It exceeds many other things. When we will be on Gridhahutra mountain, I will tell you in few words about the Good Dharma Lotus Flower Sutra. There are very curious things in it. For example, Buddha had to stop the time, allowing all creatures who wished to listen to his quintessence of teaching could be there. That is why it is considered that Buddha is still above the Grithahootra in thin reality on the sky. Could we say that he is divinity? How to classify? Yes, I understand your question. From the religious point of view, if there is a religion, there must be some divinity to which this religion is worshipping. Is it correct? That is why Buddhists say there is no God. Few minutes ago I told you that from Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma points of view, they do not exist, because during one Shiva life 2 times they are changing. Do you understand it? Brahma, even Indra is a divinity for some cults. That is why, my friends, read original sources, texts, and on the first stage you will be able to do your own conclusions. But in fact, there are scriptures in which said that divinity, they live limited life as well. Complicated theme. That is why Buddha, he is out of these definitions. From one point of view he exists, God, from the other he is not. It is described when Ananda was sitting next to Buddha and one man came to Buddha and asked, "Buddha, does the God exist?" Buddha said, "Yes, the God exists. Follow your way to the God." During the lunch, another man came and asked, "Buddha, does the God exist?" Buddha looked at him and said, "No, there is no God. Try to live out of any conception." In the evening, the third man came and asked, "Buddha, does the God exist?" He said, "You know, both statements that God exists and doesn't exist are wrong." Ananda was astonished. He came to Buddha and said, "Buddha, how is it possible? You gave one answer to the first man, another answer to the second one, and the third answer to the last man." He explained him. "You should understand," Buddha said, "the first man was a materialist. He can't develop if he hasn't got any fulcrum. He needs something to approach. Therefore, I told him that, in fact, the God exists. Indeed, Brahma exists, isn't he? This person will worship to Brahma, for example, and he will get a high-quality energy from Brahma. He's created during the concentration, at least. Is everyone agree with that? Do you understand? Another man who came, he was a fanatic. Due to his fanaticism, he could do a lot of foolish things. That is why Buddha stopped him and tried to give him an opportunity to find his own way out of religious fanatic conceptions. The third one who came to Buddha, he probably could find the sense. That is why Buddha told him, "If there is no God, you still should continue your search. Maybe you will be able to find your own way. Because if you read all the Vedic scriptures, you will find out that every one of you has the same part of divinity as Brahma has. All of you are derivatives from the same starting point. The difference between the people is caused by the fact that every person is on their own level of development and different experience from the previous lives." Yesterday we discussed why so many people couldn't perform self-development. Do you remember why it is much easier to live another lifestyle? Exactly because of the fact that if person was gathering tough karma during his previous lives, for example, committed murdered, for example, weak creatures, let's suppose if that person was born in a country where hunting is considered as a cool occupation. People are going to a forest and kill unprotected animals. It is very cool to kill an elk. Elk is walking through the forest, or fox is running behind a hare, or to kill a hare, for example. We will take a handgun and will shoot at it. We are very strong and cool. Just imagine a man lives in the previous lives and were killing animals. They kill these animals not for food, but for interest. I read on one Slavic forum recently the following conception, where were two conceptions considered: vegetarian and killing animals on a hunting. Some person wrote there that he was hereditary hunter. My grandfather was hunting. It is an art. You are just losers. You don't understand. Indeed, it is an art to follow and to shoot at a bear and to kill him. He wrote not about a bear there, but about other smaller animals. It is an art, and when the time comes, I will teach my children this art. You know, it's senselessly to argue with such people. Probably he is like a warrior and can't understand anything. I wrote to this man, listen, if you shoot a bear on the next hunting when you are teaching your son, it could be your father, yours, son, grandfather. Will you teach your son how to kill your grandfather? Don't you think that exactly this scenario could happen? Because from karma points of view, the cruelest conditions happen with those who made pain to others without thinking. If grandfather teaches his son and he knows, do you understand? Succession. Of course, the cruelest scenario will happen with them, and the bear will understand that this is his children are killing him. He will run away and yell, "Don't kill me, don't kill me!" He will shout, but they will be killing him in a cold blood. People do not understand that. Andrei, it is senselessly to say that to them. It is their karma, both of them, father's and son's karma. No, it is not senselessly. In that case, if I saw this post, let's say not very clever post, my duty was to explain it to them. This person got on that forum somehow. There is a club in Moscow in which members should kill 12 animals. They should travel around the world and kill 7 or 12 animals. I don't remember exact quantity of animals. They should kill rhinoceros, lion, elephant and some other animals. Just imagine what courage should they have to come there by car and to get in an ambush to take a huge rifle with such optical rifle scope to aim at an elephant forehead and to kill him. They should have great courage, shouldn't they? That is their karma. It is fated for him to live such life. To cut long story shorter, if a person is a member of a splendid hunting club and his life is to kill, that is his karma, and I am 100% sure such people will not get on a forum where vegetarianism is discussed, but it was my duty to explain that to this specific hunter. That's why I explained it to him. Probably he will think that I am crazy, that is his right, but I fulfilled my duty. If in the next life, God forbid, I will get in a hunter's family, it is possible, as everything is possible, and some father would like to teach me, but most likely it won't happen to me. The world is too strange. Most likely it's my reflection. I mean, somewhere in the past I was in such family and probably something was changed after such conversation. Probably can energy be changed somehow? There are rough energy and fine energy, thin energy. Fine energy allows person to live a creative life. For example, the example will be coarse one but intelligible. Some hair leaves doesn't disturb anyone. Great hair who has own businesses in the forest. Sometimes it comes to visit you and you stroke him and say, "Oh my good hair, you are so cute, such fluffy, children play with him." Yeah, this relation between the hair and the person are fine, thin relation. They are not rough. Do you understand what I'm talking about? A children or person doesn't have a desire to stitch with the teeth into the hair's fell and tear him apart, but let's consider another creature which approach to the fur, for instance a fox or other predator or someone else, or even a man who is starving. And the hare is coming closer to him. What this person will do with the hare? He will tear him apart, even with his hands only, most likely. What is the difference between energies of those who tear him apart from a person who stroked him? Do you understand that they have different energies, which allow them to behave differently in a society? Am I right? That is why it is said that there are rough and fine energy. I wanted to show you another more brutal example, but I will not. There are certain reasons which do not allow me to show you this example. Because there are people who commit wild things, which are astonishing. Does it mean that rough energy should be transferred in a fine energy? That is yoga and ascetics' purpose. The same story when Serafim Sarovsky was standing on a stone, or was it someone else? What the man was doing? It is amazing life description of a sane person who lives from a yoga point of view as a real yogini. From the morning till night, suppliants were coming to him. They were asking grace from him or an advice, doesn't matter, but they were sharing with him huge quantity of problems, questions. Every day he had to receive a group of visitors. What did he do during the night? He had to practice ascetic on a stone, because it is impossible to cope with contact so many people without ascetics. And if you look how sane people were living, they always were practicing ascetics. Buddha Shakyamuni, despite the impressive characteristics he had, each year he was leaving everyone for 3 months. It was important part of his personal practice. If he had only communicated, he wouldn't have coped with it for a long time. That is why each year he needed to leave everyone for 3 months, and often he asked not to tell anyone where he was, not to be disturbed. I will show you an example which city he had. It is not a popular story, only few know it. Once Buddha lived to a remote village with his 2 disciples to practice for 3 months. He was brought to a very remote place to be sure that he will not be disturbed. Buddha stayed there and told his disciples, "Come here to take me exactly in 3 months, we will go to another city." His disciples left them, and Buddha started to practice during 3 months in solitude. When 3 months passed and disciples came for Buddha, they came in that province and saw that a huge flood happened there, and the place where Buddha was left was under the water. They took a boat and went to search for him. Local people brought them to the place. The depth of the water was there 5 or 7 meters, very deep. The river was full flowing. They started to think that Buddha had gone. There wasn't Buddha anywhere, but when they came closer, they saw that in the middle of the water there is a round wall of dust. Inside this place a shelter, and Buddha was sitting next to it, outside of the water. Buddha was out of this water at all. When they approached there by boat, they told him, "Oh Buddha, we came to you." He said, "Very good, I have been waiting for you." He flew out of there, sat in the boat, and they left. Next moment, the water covered the place where he had been sitting. Even though a person with such parameters had to spend 3 months in a year for a personal practice. In Tibetan Buddhism, there is a phenomenon. In Buddhism, word retreat understood differently now, but in Tibetan Buddhism, a quintessence of retreat is kept. Retreat is a solitude when a person tries to solve inner questions. Did I answer your question? How does yoga convert energy to a finer one? Have you mentioned that you come to practice asanas, hatha yoga, you lay a pad after work? It is hard. You started to practice to bend yourself. First half hour is difficult. You know yourself which thoughts come to your head, but somehow after 2 hours you were bended, you stand up, all the heaviness you had gone, you have a wind behind your back, and life is good. Who has mentioned it? Raise your hand. The majority, right? You have been practicing ascesis on the pad, and your energy had been changed. The energy you had before yoga and after, the different energies, right? You had been practicing ascesis, you had been doing ascesis. with your body, which changed your energy. It is broad theme. I would like to talk about it in details, but before you meet your inner world it is senseless to discuss it. But on a certain level, when you feel how energy flows, you will exactly feel a heaviness, some impaction in inner world. You should do specific practice to overcome this impaction, and it will be much easier after that. There are situations when people say so hard as if you are pressed by a huge stone. The only wish is to lie and don't do anything. It is most dangerous time. It is external energy entered in you and trying to control your inner world. If you manage to force yourself to practice during such moments, you can change this energy. Heaviness, it is not physical tiredness, but energetic problem. Many years ago, I faced amazing things. I learned that some monks could practice, you won't believe, months without stop. I personally spoke to these people. I couldn't believe it. That some person start to practice something and don't get tired physically during a month. Guys, I understand. I managed to practice for weeks, but you practice 1 week and you get absolutely exhausted. You don't have any strength. Without food, without water? No, with food and with water. Did you practice asanas? Cyclic practices are performed to achieve one or another result, for different reasons. Let's suppose some person wants to know his previous life. There are specific methodologies which helps you to gain energy, to convert it from rough one to a fine energy, and then to fine energy will allow him to look inside yourself. Ordinary people could very rarely do this. If you get in Karma Kagyu or in a different school where specific inner world methodologies exist, but they are not shared with everyone, that is very smart from their side. There are specific training systems which a person who stands on the way of self-perfection and he is being told, "Buddy, you have to do 100,000 prostration." It is hands up in the air, specific pray, lay down, stand up, down 100,000 times. You can spend 1-2 years of your life for prostrations if you want to know yourself. After that, you will have to chant mantra, let's suppose 100,000 times. After that, you should perform, they call it mandala offering. You will see there are people sitting here, they put stones in a bowl and clang them. It is called mandala offering. It is very difficult ritual. They pay attention, they are sitting and doing it 100,000 times, these offerings. And only after that a person will be given preparatory inner practices. It is mean that he should spend 5-7 years of his life to prepare himself to get inner practices. Do you understand? Only few people can allow themselves to do this. You may say, why are they so greedy? Why can't they give these practices to everyone? Because if a person is under passions, under ignorance, it is not only injurious but painful to disclose these practices, because a teacher who hands over these practices are responsible for a person whom he handed over the practices. If a person after getting the practices will burn everything on passions and he will 100% will do this energy, a teacher hand over information together with energy. If person is not practicing, he will drain this energy in a lavatory pan, sorry for my expression, and those who gave it to him will feel pain. That is why there is filter system, preparation practices that are how they called. If you have a potential to prepare, you will prepare and will be able to move forward. No potential float in samsara, that was your choice, nothing personal as it said. Indeed, there are methodologies when people could practice for a long time without tiredness. It is possible. It gives an explanation. It explains why in some time you don't have to force yourself to practice, but you feel energetic support. It becomes easy to practice. It is one of conception, but I have faced with it, and I know people who have gained an experience on this way, and I have some experience myself as well. That is why I am telling it to you. When the transformation happens, there are situations when a person bears something for some time, but some time later give it up. He didn't bear it enough, he didn't transform it, he made some effort, he saw a problem, but still he made a step back. You can read scriptures on Vedic theme. Are they crazy? Someone takes ascesis, sat under a tree and didn't stand up for that place, such and such quantity of time, literally several years. What should such person do if he takes ascesis? How he could stimulate himself? It's difficult to say, Katya. Now, in nowadays, let me repeat, for those who haven't heard it, how to compel yourself to overcome this energy. In Tibet now, knowing that person is weak, they literally close people in case. If teacher decides that someone is ready for a practice, he received this practice, they wall up him in a cave with stones, leaving only small window for food. It is reality. On our territories there are such things called delmans. Have you heard? When a person was closed there, it was open only once a day to give him food and get back, not to let him run away, because everyone would run away. If you learn how teachers treated their disciples, I mean those teachers who were bringing their disciples not to reality, perception, ecstasy. I read recently one expression, I'm afraid I will not remember it word to word, but the sense was the following. Love is not something you should approach, but something that comes to you itself. There was a signature of saint person. My friends, that's not true. I don't argue, someone probably is living in these feelings, but you have to make it titanic forces to understand something or to overcome. In general, what is the difference between male and female path? From one hand, there is no difference. From other, many things are very different. Certainly, women have their own physiology. But at the same time, I know many women who have achieved in yoga quite a lot. I have one teacher, thanks to this teacher mainly, women reach samadhi for some reason. He operates with women energy. In Hinduism and yoga there is a definition, Shakti aspect, woman aspect, and he builds his practice on this woman aspect. This is why the majority of women who reach samadhi, it is very difficult. It is not so easy, but still it's mainly women. Do these women have families or they disown from a family? I believe one of them had family. I didn't interested in this system of self-perfection closely, as he was interested in women mainly. But it is not a single solution. I know many other women who have reached a lot of in yoga. Thanks to handover from a woman, I could see my different energetic body. I could leave my body also thanks to handover from another woman. The woman handed over me a methodology which let me look at myself from a different side. I saw, thanks to this methodology, that my physical body is literally saying a skeleton filled with meat and covered with skin. My substance, it is absolutely different part. The body is only a machine, it is fact. I understood something that I had always known. I am offering you, my friends, you should come in best case in Yoga Camp Aura in Eco Village. We have a proper conditions there for practice, thus try to practice there as far as it is possible. One more question. If I prepare some food for my husband and he likes it, does it mean that his energy each time flows to me and I should practice each time to convert this energy? Yes, you should practice. Listen, it is not bad. If you have a husband who is developing and who... Wait, let's discuss perfect situation. Let's suggest a husband who is developing, serving to this world. Have you imagined? I mean, he does something good. He is doing God's mission, leads the world to the best. Have you imagined? Let's suppose such person exists, and there is wife who is serving to him. He is following the God's will. The God's given him an order to do something. He does it, and there is a woman who helps him on his way. It means that part of the God's energy will go to her. It doesn't mean that it will be precious. If woman can help a warrior who stands defending a society, let's discuss a hot example. You know that in Ukraine the events are happening. Some people with a good will came to change life to a better one, as usually they called upon to one thing but got another. Okay, I will not continue. Now so many problems because of these comments in Ukraine, but at least you can clearly see there that there are people who really want to change life to a better one, and other who want to control the society. And to my regret, those who want to control society are winning now. But sense in the following: if someone is standing on defending the society, he gets good karma. I was listening to Trikhlebov, and he was saying that a woman can serve to her husband and receive energy from him. But if there is no such husband who serves to humanity, if he eats meat and so on, for these cases, religious exists. If a woman doesn't have a man who could help her on her way, then she should search for the God, approach to the God, become God's fanatic. It is not so important which God we are talking about, but they start to search a way to... Because they can't get this energy from a man, they have to search it from a God. Does it mean that on yoga way this energy could be transformed? Absolutely right. You take your husband, which you have at least something, help him fulfill his passions, take his passions, and with yoga help burn it. You will develop anyway. Whatever husband you have, absolutely seriously, no jokes. Usually it happens opposite way. No, it means that the energy is Svadhisthana chakra, there is no taste there, it is normal. Hard to say, good it or bad. If there are two people who live calm despite the fact that they don't like taste of the food, it is not a problem. But if one person wants food, he would like to, but the other can't give it to him, then they have conflict between reality and desires. Then conflicts occurs. In general, fulfilled passions is foolish, of course. Let me show you a living example. Okay, I will not do this. Not to hurt your living position. Please tell us. Do you want me to hurt you? Make it painful. Make it painful? No, it is not about practice. How does a woman expose herself in a society? Bright clothes, skirt is shorter, navel is higher, I mean legs are longer, heels are higher, makeup layer is thicker, how do you say, plaster around eyes, a little more, glued plastic nails are longer, teeth are whiter after acid bleaching. What else do they do? Lenses are bluer. Yes, lenses. Because brown eyes are not into... We should have blue eyes, shouldn't we? The hair is in peroxide, totally, absolutely white. That is an example of a lady. She goes through the life. isn't she? Do you understood correct? Or have I spruced something up? I spruced up a little bit probably, by purpose to understand what is happening after. Therefore, such lady appears on the surface of society, she exists. Any normal man wouldn't get closer to her because he understands that this festival will be continued on his expenses in the future. He doesn't want it. I'm talking about normal men now. Who is paying attention to her? Someone who is feeling itch somewhere and wants something. They will stay around her and will tell, "Darling, let me embrace you." Am I right? She answers, "My dears, I will embrace all of you, and you, and you, and you." I'm sorry for saying such rude, but it is such ideology. This woman needs this energy attention. They collect it. They feel lack of this attention. Roughly speaking, in a secret, it is a typical vampirism. There are even men like this. There is perfume for men, Botox for men, lips for men, everything for men. Haven't you seen men with Botox? There are already. Okay, let's stop. Due to the primitive energies, systematically everyone gets crazy. Please look at a true story of recent past. How many wars occurred because of this primitive energy? Due to this sensual love, people have huge amount of problem. Kill each other. Surprisingly, but it is true. Because they cannot do nothing with this energy. This energy is a disease, comes from one person to another. Here discord in a family, the energy goes to another apartment, there discord. From this family it goes to another and to the third, to the fourth, and so on. It will continue till the moment this energy will meet more or less ascetic person on its way. Then probably if he is more or less adequate, he will collect all it, and probably with his ascesis he will deprive the society from these gifts, so-called gifts, I mean. Do you understand it? Because no one can control this energy. Did you understand it? I'm telling it for so long because the biggest problem for this woman who is trying to expose themselves provoking way, it is a huge problem for themselves, but they don't realize it. In the future it will be much worse. In the future their legs will be shorter, their skin will be worse, and lips thinner, and everything what they are trying to improve will be worse. Do you understand why? In the next lives, of course, because in this life she takes something what could belong to her in the future, but she is already spent it absolutely stupidly, senselessness and prospectless. Is it like a credit? No, it is a debt. She will owe to the forces which would give it to her later. You should understand that they do it not because of their foolishness. Goddesses, for example, look like this. Thinner creatures, they are called apsars. They look like this. Thin, long legs, hands, beauty, lips, bosom, everything they need, they have it. But they are goddesses. Why goddess? Because they have gods. Gods have much more potential. That is why a god needs a goddess. She fulfills God's passions. She lives longer due to the god's energy. You ask what divinity does. The divinity is exploding worlds around. It is super managers who gets a huge quantity of energy from their patrimony. Do you understand? Who reacts on makeup? Everyone understands it. Reacts only those who doesn't control any world. They are giving the last they have. Excuse me for my expression. My dear friends, natural beauty will never hurt you, but only improve your characteristic. But everything you are trying to put on yourself, it will provide only negative impact in the future. You will get it now, but not in the future. Do you understand? If you are not agree, that is your right, I will not argue. The life will teach you.